So, hello everyone. A very, very warm welcome and good evening. And Paula, it's so lovely to have you join us today.
Very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on your series, Diksha.
Absolutely. So, for everyone who's joined in, let me give you a quick sort of update into what the series is about. About a couple of weeks ago, almost four to be precise, we launched something called the Found Her series in association with an AI marketing power tool company called Simplified. And the concept behind Found Her is really to bring out some of the most special stories of female founders who are building, from different parts of the world, but are building businesses that are extremely innovative, scalable. And often enough we see the brands, but I feel the people that make these brands, which are the founders, I think their stories are super super exciting, and I think there's so much to learn from. And we've been doing this with three amazing founders, and today I'm so happy to have Paula join us because I think there is so much for all of us to learn from her journey and what she's built. And let me tell you a little bit about her before I, pass on the stage to her. Paula is the founder of a Marathi digital media sort of content house called BhaDiPa. And as someone who's actually been a filmmaker in Canada, she literally, kind of went all around the world, came here to start a company in an Indian regional language. And to me, that itself, it's remarkable. It's fascinating. So Paula, welcome, and I would, just love to kind of hear the backstory behind how you got BhaDiPa together. What sort of was the inspiration, and how have you kind of seen yourself evolve from a filmmaker in the West to kind of being here in India. And I know you're building something very exciting, in this space, especially in the vernacular space. I know it is so big and so much potential to be tapped. So take us through that journey. Would love to hear it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. So, my journey actually started when I was studying film at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, Canada. And I didn't have India on my radar at all. I was actually sort of setting up my own little business. I was gonna I finished my film school, I was going to invest in a bunch of sound equipment and start my own private freelancing business doing sound for films and doing post production and recording as like a little boutique kind of a company. And that was mainly because the Canadian film industry is um, it's very difficult to work in as an independent filmmaker. It's very, very, very reliant on government funding, and seniority plays into it, unions play into it, and it's just a whole different ball game to just hey, here's my script. If it's good, let's make it. So I was getting ready for a life of having a job that paid the bills, and then maybe doing my filmmaking on the side. And it was at this time that I got an opportunity there was a government grant via the university to send students to India to study and do an internship with some Indian equivalent company in the same field. And I applied for it and I got this grant money to come and study the Indian film industry and see how Canada and India can do more business together. So that was very exciting for me at the age of, I think I was 21. I was very happy just to have an expenses paid trip. I had done a lot of travel before, uh, and but India was never on the radar because for me I was so used to being like surrounded by Punjabis in Vancouver, and I'd had Indian food and I'd seen a bit of the culture from a Punjabi lens, which I didn't realize at the time. And I'd also had this misunderstanding, or rather, a, a lack of knowledge about the Indian film industry. And I thought it was like that old school Bollywood, Shami Kapoor dancing in Swiss Alps. And it was not something that was to my taste. and still
Yeah,
isn't.
I hear you.
So I was like, hey, cool, free trip, let's go. And I landed up in Chennai first, and I realized that first of all, there were regional languages, there was huge industries within regional languages, and that
Absolutely.
was just the beginning of a huge learning curve and understanding how the industry worked. So you were saying something?
Wow. No, I mean, as an Indian itself, I personally don't know all the regional languages, and for you to kind of have to figure this, I mean, it's vast, and I'm sure it would have been super overwhelming, to the least.
Uh, I think I'm lucky I was raised in a family where I was able to travel a fair bit around the world, and I have that privilege for sure of having some solo travel experience as well. And a lot of exposure, being in Canada, it's a very multicultural country. So um, I grew up surrounded by people from all kinds of backgrounds. So for me, it was more like a wonderful discovery than a shock. It was like, oh wow, like you open up a box and you think there's gonna just be like something basic inside, and it ends up being like an amazing gift basket. So you get really excited about that. So it was that kind of experience. And by the end of a 3 month trip, I'd been to Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, done a little wine trip to Nashik. And after all of that, I had made a lot of friends and discovered enough about the film industry here that I thought, I really want to come back to India and I want to try starting my professional career here rather than in Canada. So I went back to Canada, finished my degree, did a bit of freelance work in the industry. And as soon as that was over, I jumped straight back in and I came over here. I think it was my third trip to India where I was actually working on a film as an assistant director. And on that project, I met my co founders, Sarang Sathe and Anusha Nandakumar. And
Fantastic.
we'd, yeah, it was, I guess it was how many years ago are we talking? 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago to the date that we met. And on that film, we had realized we had a lot of shared values and experiences. That was enough for us to decide to start a private limited company. That was going to be sort of a vehicle for our dreams. We were going to take all of our filmmaking aspirations and support each other, have a production company, build up some capital in there through doing weddings and TV commercials and make a bunch of money in the company, and then we'll produce something for ourselves. And we were writing and freelancing and all of that stuff happening at the same time. And the first couple of years were fairly uneventful. They were big learning experiences. We had started working doing digital brands digital brand films for these different companies. And that was also at a time where Indian brands were coming online into the digital space, forming their own, Twitter handles and YouTube channels, and just sort of getting the knack of digital advertising. That was also when TVS and AIV started to break big, and Indians started to look to the digital space for quality entertainment, at least in the Hindi and English languages. And I'd had a couple of business ideas before BhaDiPa. Before we struck this idea of starting a Marathi YouTube channel, I had two previous business ideas that I really wanted to explore seriously. And because of that, I had taken this online course of how to build a business model from Udemy. And that was extremely useful because I have an older sister who studied finance and she works and consulted with companies trying to fundraise. But when I asked her for her help, she said, you can just learn it yourself. So she gave me
Wow.
all the resources.
Sister pointing you in the direction of really, kind of doing it on your own. And I think that helps because sometimes when you do everything from scratch, I think you learn a lot better.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I have no training in business, but I have a very pushy sister who made sure I got the knowledge I needed and then giving me a lot of feedback, answering questions that I had. when I was coming up with pitch decks and things, and the first idea has been attempted by so many people and yet not successfully, but there's such a need, but there's too many hurdles to get that idea through, which is having like a global film network where professionals can sign up and work internationally. But that's not really necessary now. With LinkedIn and all these other platforms, it's not needed. And the second idea, was like a film exhibition idea that we were going to start with our little company. But then after a point, we realized, this is not for us. We would rather be making the films than exhibiting them and showing them to people. And the idea for starting a Marathi YouTube channel actually came when we were at Fiki Frames. It's this convention in Hawaii. They do it every year in March. And it's a really, really great convention to enter the industry, or even people who are new to the industry and need to network. And in general, they do this amazing research paper, which they put out. And that is so fantastic to get your hands on a copy of that. They have it on their website. It's their media and entertainment report, where they research all the entertainment industry, from to television to news, and digital being a big part of that. So there was a conference going on with AIB and TVF founders talking about the rise of digital entertainment. And I think TVF had just done its first premium brand-sponsored web series, Permanent Roommate, with Common Floor as the brand sponsor.
I definitely remember that.
Yeah, it was a really sweet show. And I think season 3 is coming out soon. If it hasn't come out already, I think it's coming out really soon. So that's really cool. That actually, it's been a 10-year journey for that show. And on the other side of the convention center, there was a small little room with a seminar panel going on about the Marathi film industry. And because my partners and I had met in Pune, they both grew up in Pune. And the film that we met on was also featuring a lot of Marathi actors. We had a huge exposure to the Marathi film industry and had pitched films that we wanted to make. We wanted to make some Marathi films, some Hindi films, some different things. So we knew a lot of people. Sarin was a part of one of the films that they were talking about, which was one of the more recent blockbusters in Marathi, which I think had crossed 40 crores at that time. For Marathi, that's a pretty good collection. That whole thing was like, is this the new rise of the Marathi film industry? What's going to happen next? And I just kind of put these two things together, and I asked that, and I said, is there any Marathi YouTube channel out there? Because it would make sense, right? You have all of this talent in Marathi, and you have this sort of self-sustaining film industry, self-sustaining television industry, radio, events, theater. Theater industry in Marathi is crazy. And we went on YouTube, Google, tried to find out, and there was nothing. I said, okay, well,
wow,
I think we should probably start this.
Moment.
Sorry?
That was the light bulb moment when you figured that there's definitely a space.
Yeah, so that was, just putting the two and two together. The first hurdle, though, that we got, and where I can say I could probably bring in my expertise as a non-Indian into this whole concoction of what started BhaDiPa, was that when we started going and talking to a few people about it, saying we want to start a Marathi YouTube channel, people would come back and say, why Marathi? It's such a small niche. Hindi, you should get into Hindi. That's where the money is. That's where all the people are. The eyeballs are in Hindi. And I turned to Saring. I said, listen, I'm from Canada, which has a total population of 33 million people. And the state of Maharashtra has 100 million people, more than that now. There's at least, 85, 90 million people who speak Marathi. So the Marathi market is 3 times bigger than the Canadian market. And that's if you're not having people read with subtitles or watching another language or having Marathi second language users watching.
Correct.
And I said, this is it. Like, we have an opportunity to be pioneers and start a new space entirely and do it on our terms and set a bar for Marathi Digital Party. Plus, we had all this experience of working with brands, helping them make videos go viral, which doesn't happen anymore. Nothing goes viral nowadays. But back then, going viral was the hot thing to do. So we knew how to go viral. We had talent, and we just went for it.
Wow. Paula, first of all, I think just listening to you narrate how you sort of navigated your way through building BhaDiPa, all the different facets of your journey, right? Coming to India for sort of the program to study, and then sort of getting, exposure to Marathi media. And I mean, honestly, I think it's a great time because Ganesh Chaturthi is going on, and we all know that it's so big in Maharashtra. And I want to agree with the numbers that you just put out, right? I feel like um, regional content or vernacular content is the next big thing, right? Because access for most of us, at like a tier 1 or a tier 2 level has already happened, but access of data and devices, hardware, internet, it's all coming to a lot more of a vernacular preference audience, right? And of course, in that case, content plays such an important part. And I mean, if content is what gets people together, then of course brands will pay. So, I mean, I think it's a beautiful sort of summation of what you've put together, and I think it's only going to be increasing the next couple of years. And what I really want to understand from you is because you brought about a bunch of very interesting things, right? When you spoke about AIB and TVF and brands getting sponsored, right? Talk to me a little bit about, as someone who's an expert in this industry and has seen the sort of content and media space evolve over the 10, 12 years, what are some of the positive changes that have happened, and what are some of the trends that you feel are here to stay that even brands can sort of pick up from, right? Or any insights on media that could be very relevant for founders? I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on this.
Wow, I mean, there's so many things that have happened in the last 10 years that it's so hard to pick up on any one, but I can definitely start with probably the biggest and work my way down. But one of the biggest shifts is, of course, geo entering the market and trying to get 2 and 3 tier small town villages, all the way to the cities, trying to get them all online and encourage consumption. One of the ways to get content. So still coming in.
Paul, I'm not able to hear you. There is a slight disturbance, if I'm not wrong. Could you just check that for a minute? Yeah, you'll just have to go on. You'll just have to unmute again, and then you're good to go.
All right.
Yeah, unmute. Yeah,
Is this better for you?
perfect, perfect, perfect. Please carry on.
So I was just saying that geo entering the market was a huge game changer for digital in general, and it just got a whole new vernacular audience online. So that definitely was showing a lot of promise for our business at a really early stage. Because a lot of the people, as you go deeper and deeper and further away from the main city centers, you also end up having less and less people who can and want to consume stuff in Hindi and English. So that was one big thing. Also, another huge thing is YouTube, I think, just completed 15 years in India. And like this right now. So, YouTube started taking off a little while before we joined in. We also have, I think, what was it, 6, 7 years ago, Netflix and Amazon And these OTT players entered the Indian market around the same time a whole host of other Indian language, Indian companies jumped in and got onto the streaming game, especially all the people who have the television banks of libraries of content and the film studios. So that was a huge game changer as well, not just for digital, but for the whole film industry, because it was a whole new avenue of expression, a whole new outlet, and a new way for creators to make content. And then in terms of trends, I said earlier that things are not going viral anymore nowadays. It's very rare, unless it's a big piece of news or like a major event, like a Chandrayaan-2 taking off or landing on the moon. There's very few things which are viral moments in today's day and age online. And that is because social media has become so personalized and so siloed. Each platform, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, LinkedIn even, all of these platforms want you to spend as much time on the platform as possible. So they don't like cross-promoting stuff on other platforms. So with that type of silo going on, like it's very rare you'll discover a YouTube channel while browsing Facebook nowadays. You will discover a Facebook page maybe, you'll discover a new creator, but you won't discover their YouTube channel. YouTube, you'll only discover YouTube stuff. The cross-pollination doesn't happen anymore. That's intentional by the platforms. And individually for the consumers, the younger generations, while people think people don't have attention spans anymore because a lot of money is being invested in short-form content, like 1 minute to 90-second reels and things, actually generation A and Z, both of them, when they find something that they really like, they actually consume that almost obsessively in all kinds of content. So if you like something, like if you like architecture, then you watch architecture shorts, you'll watch 1-hour video essays, you'll watch a Netflix series about it, you might even go and watch a documentary in the movie theater. So you will pick up on a hyper personalized interest, the algorithms will pick up on that and they'll feed you all kinds of content. And that's, nowadays, it's kind of important to be present across all formats rather than just being a specialist in one. And that's another thing that we as a company have had to try and follow along. So it's been really interesting seeing how the industry has changed for the better in so many ways. COVID, of course, was another huge game changer in terms of getting people online, getting people to watch content online. I think I know my screen time definitely went up during COVID, and it hasn't quite back. It hasn't really gone back down to the pre-COVID levels. So there is a lot of things that have changed.
No, thank you for sort of pointing those out. And I think they're so relevant for sort of anyone today, right? Whether, of course, today every business is on social media, right? You're trying to use content, you're trying to put your brand out there, you're trying to put yourself out there, right? As someone who's seen as a thought leader or known. So I think some of the points that you said were extremely important, especially what you pointed out about saying that every platform promotes their own content, and they won't really promote sort of cross pollination content. So that's actually a good tip. So what I kind of inferred is that if I want to promote my content, then I have to promote my links and my profiles of that particular platform and not sort of another, right?
Well, yes. On one hand, if you want to promote your LinkedIn, you're probably going to have the most success promoting it on LinkedIn itself rather than going outside. But there is a workaround which we use a lot, especially when we have brand sponsors. If we have a link to a website or something that we want people to click on and go visit, for example, Facebook, it automatically downgrades your post if you include a link in the description or in the body of your post. However, if you remove that link and you put it in the comments, the top comment, the first comment, that does not have any impact on your reach. And it's the same across all platforms, whether it be LinkedIn,
Right.
whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, YouTube even, they prefer the link in the comment section.
No, I agree too, and I've seen that with LinkedIn. So definitely that tip helps. Paula, I want to pick your brain a little bit also on just content creation for founders today. As someone who actually runs a media company, content is your bread and butter. You know how to produce it, right? Over the past couple of years, it has become, I mean, I feel content is a lot more democratized because now any and everyone can put themselves out there, right? Sort of going back to what it was 20 years ago, where you needed to have it hard pressed on media. Today, anyone can do that. But how has it become easier? And I mean, in my mind, I feel, of course, it's become easier, right? Has content creation become easier? And have you, as a media company, actually used any sort of AI based tools for producing your content, or even maybe promoting it, right? And how do you sort of look at the use of AI when it comes to marketing and content?
Definitely. AI, we've been using AI for years without even realizing it. Whether it be using Facebook marketing for promotions, their internal AI will, you put in who you want to reach out to, but they're going to find the best possible matches to your content based on their internal AI algorithms. So that is naturally part of the process. But in terms of using tools from AI, we have been for quite a few years been using one tool before the whole AI video thing really picked up, was a tool called InVideo. So we started using them where you can just copy paste your script and it matches it with copyright protected, copyright free footage. And if you pay for it, then it's really good quality footage, and it'll make a video for you or a montage, and it can put the text, you can put music, all of that stuff comes in with that whole package. Now, of course, we can add in the script writing part using ChatGPT. That is something that we don't use for writing our scripts because our scripts are in Marathi. We've generally found that ChatGPT and these other AI language models are not great for Indic languages. Neither are they good with, you can always do the translation in Google Translate, but it never really resonates the same way. That always becomes a very bookish translation. And because we are an entertainment channel, we like to speak more informally. We like to mix English and Hindi into our Marathi. And that is something which AI hasn't quite caught up to yet. But we use it for presentations. I've used like beautiful.ai and some different tools for doing proposals and pitches, business presentations, even using ChatGPT for writing the content of those, or if we have to fill out a form and pitch something in English, then it's really good for that. We use Grammarly. All of these kinds of tools are very common in our toolbox. I think the only thing we've avoided so far is kind of getting into the full-blown automated video machine YouTube channel thing where we just put in an idea, it shoots out a script, we copy paste it into a video machine, it puts in the music and everything, and then we post it saying, here's some content. That's something which I think fundamentally might be a good business idea, and a lot of people do that. But I think for us at the core, the point of having our channel was to give a voice to real people, real creators who want to say something and not just sort of spit out content on a regular basis. So that's kind of where we have drawn the line so far. So we use it to elevate our creative voice and make our lives easier doing a lot of these technical tasks, but we haven't been using it to sort of come up with the core ideas and concepts and the scripting of them yet.
No, absolutely. And thanks for sharing sort of, those tools that you've been using. And I would love to coax you and everyone who's listening to actually have a look at Simplified. What they've done is build a very robust sort of AI powered marketing tool that does everything. And just to sort of give you an example, right, like 10, 12 years ago, as a solo founder, like when you were starting out, right, even with other two co-founders, you're always trying to keep costs low. And today, the good thing that AI and tools like Simplified have done is that if yesterday you needed a team of like 5 people to run your marketing department, right? Someone for copy, someone for design, someone for video, someone for animation, someone for just posting it out. Simplified as a tool is kind of like combined all of that, and it kind of becomes like your internal marketing agency, right? So I think AI, the biggest use case is just helping founders and humans focus on more thinking oriented, more strategizing, more ideation, more creativity, right? So that if you've already figured something out, then kind of that can be automated. So do check that out and tell me how you find it. But you've been so generous with some of your tips, and I'm going to pick your brain on just the last question from my side, because what you said also about Gen Z and A, about really consuming content based on their interests, right? So I know you actively, being sort of a connoisseur of YouTube, and you guys have a fantastic channel with a great reach and subscription. What would your sort of quick tips be to someone here who's a founder, especially a female founder, because I do want them to build their brands, on actually starting a YouTube channel, and anything that they should keep in mind, or that that should kind of push them to really do this?
For sure. I think the biggest thing somebody needs to consider is, why do they want to start a YouTube channel? Because it is a lot of work and it is a commitment if you want to do it right. Um, I think a lot of people will start YouTube channels casually because it's free, because it's easy to use, and that's fine if for you it's a casual pursuit. But if you're looking at making it a part of your business, you do need to understand, why am I really doing this and who's going to want to watch it? Even if it's just purely theoretical, you don't have to do market research. Our idea was just based on observational skills. We could see Marathi youth were not interested in watching television. They would rather stream Game of Thrones, pirated episodes, than watch some Sas Bahu drama with their family. They were interested in something new, something that matched their global exposure, their global outlook. And then we had all the talent who was also not, artistically satisfied with the same thing. And that was just, very clear need that was there in the market. And why the YouTube channel is because it was the best way to reach the most amount of people for the lowest cost. We didn't start an OTT platform because we're not tech people. We're creators, and we don't have a CTO. We don't want to invest crores of rupees just so we can host a video on our own platform. So better that we partner with someone like a YouTube. Yes, they do take the majority. I mean, they don't take the majority. They take a large chunk of the ad revenue that you earn. But that ad revenue is anyway not enough to sustain our company by itself. So you have to think, okay, I'm going to do something for Marathi people. Yes, that's the need. That's who's going to watch my channel. But who else needs it? And that was the answer to that, was the brands. And this is where the whole business model kind of comes together, is that brands
Absolutely.
would eventually like to talk to Marathi people, speak to them in their own language through a trusted source. That would be us. And BhaDiPa as a YouTube channel would be the way to do that. So, they pay for content marketing services through us, and we create good content, hopefully, that the audience will watch and is paid for by the brands. And that was the ultimate why, because of the desire for creative freedom, wanting to be our own bosses. We wanted to give services to brands, but not work wholly and exclusively for them. We wanted that creative decision rights at the end of the day and the right to say no, or your brand will go better in this kind of a video than that kind of a video. So for us, that was the main thing. If you yourself can answer this question right now, then you should just start a YouTube channel. But you also have to remember, what is it about your channel that's going to be unique? If you are going to do something which has been done before, what is it that you're bringing to the table that's different? Is it your perspective? If you're doing film reviews on YouTube, why is your perspective different than somebody else? Is it because of where you live? If you're going to watch Bollywood films as a non-Indian, that's going to be an interesting perspective. Somebody might not have seen that before. But if you're, as an Indian person, you're going to make a Bollywood film review, what are you going to bring to the table in terms of your experience, which is going to be differentiating, or it could even be stylistic. You have a funny editing pattern, you have a sense of humor. All of these things differentiate you from everybody else. And the language is a huge differentiator. So if it's not been done yet in your mother tongue, then definitely do it in your mother tongue. So these are some of the tips that I would suggest. If you have this all right and it seems like something that really resonates, start your YouTube channel and start it with as little expense as possible, if possible, because you have to be consistently uploading videos on a regular schedule for 2 years, for sure, before you start to see any really.
Wow. 2 years of
Yeah.
investment in really putting in content out.
Now, this is if we're talking about organic growth. If you want
Right.
to talk about a brand wanting to just put their ads and digitally push those to eyeballs and audiences, that's a different thing. You want to put marketing money into your YouTube channel, please go for it. But if you want to grow a real community, YouTube is much more about community than just viewership.
Yeah.
You develop fandom and you develop a connection with your audience. So if you're just promoting your brand or just promoting your own company, you're not going to find traction on YouTube because people don't want to be advertised to. People would like your brand to provide something special and something unique. So if it's connected with your already existing business, this is some advice I've given to a friend recently. So my friend's business is teaching bicycle mechanic workshops, and he goes in person all over India. He's trained abroad. He's doing classes all over the place. He's even been doing them online. But his YouTube channel shouldn't just be promoting his offline services. He needs to also give tips and tricks and valuable information in different Indian languages about what to do if your bicycle chain falls off. And, find new audiences for that kind of a content by giving something that's actually valuable for somebody who's watching. So you always have to remember that. And even if that valuable thing is just a laugh or just feeling emotional or it's like a moral lesson, even that's fine. You don't have to be teaching a skill. But for brands and existing companies, YouTube is the #1 place where Indians go to learn new things more than anywhere else. People learn on YouTube. So I highly suggest educational content. If the content and entertainment value of your content is less and your brand presence is more important, to have your brand presence on YouTube, then definitely make it informational, make it educational.
Amazing. Paula, I think those were some great tips, and I'm just going to summarize it, right? So answer, why does your brand need it? Who's going to pay for it? And do you have 2 years to really invest in that sort of organic content, content building? And if the answer is yes, you have people, who'd be ready to sponsor that content at some point, and people who find your content a lot more educational and, sort of entertainment focused, then definitely go for it. So that was some great advice. And, on that note, I also just want to let everyone know that while you might have great ideas to think about content and, the advice that you want to provide to anyone on YouTube, what you should also do is use simplify to make that content. And we've actually recently partnered with them in India, and they have some fantastic tools. So if you are founders, content creators, looking to really enhance your content building capacity, putting the content out, we have a special code for you, which is called N50. So NQB N50, which I'm also putting on the screen right now. So you can go to simplified.com, get your 50% off, start using the tool, you know, make sure that you keep what Paula told you in mind, in terms of developing content for YouTube and, each of the other platforms, and see a really, really good change. Paula, this was fantastic. Thank you for taking the time to sort of really give a very, very in-depth analysis of what's happened in the media industry. And I can only imagine, and we've had this conversation of how much more it's going to evolve, with sort of vernacular preferences coming from users, right? So I'm very excited for everything that you're building, and we wish you all the best, all of us at NQB. And thank you for taking out the time, and we hope you had a good time as well.
Thank you so much, Diksha. Yeah, I'm always happy to share this stuff, and you've asked really good, relevant questions, and I hope that the audience has found this informative, if nothing else.
Absolutely. And since Paula said I shouldn't be sharing direct links, but all these episodes will also be available on our YouTube channel. So I'll make sure I share a link of that in the comments a little later. But till then, we'll have a little quick outro from us. And Paula, thanks once again.
Thank you.